Hey everybody, welcome to the turnover pass. We're really going to buckle down on the actual move itself. We're not going to get into too many crazy things. I'm going to show you two little applications that I use with this that are pretty neat. One being a color change and the other being a retention of two cards to make it look like nothing ever happened. I'm also going to teach you a neat little effect that I kind of constructed with a couple other different things to really fly past your magician friends or your mentalist friends and give you a basis, a foundation to build onto, to use your creativity and come up with your own effect built around it. And that's what I really like to do, is to give a foundation so people can expand and use their creativity to make the kind of magic that they like. So I think you'll find a lot of value in this. This is, if you've never done the turnover pass before, this is great. If you know the turnover pass, I want to give you a few things, maybe a few tips that you didn't know, a few handling, a few different little variations that I do that you may be able to implement into the way that you already do it to make it better. Let's get into the turnover pass. This is the basic handling of the turnover pass. Again, these are just my touches, my preferences on how I like to do them. I find that they work very well for me. Now, a friend of Team Ellusionist, Alex Pandrea, has a download, or did have a download available. I'm not sure if it's still up and around, but going over the turnover pass and how he likes to do it. So you may want to check that out as well. I remember going through it and really enjoying it. It was really great tutorial. So, but I'll just show you here how I prefer to do it. So we'll use the ace of hearts, I'm sorry, the ace of diamonds, and we'll control this to the top of the pack, just like that. Do this again. We use the four of spades. We will control that to the bottom of the pack. Oh, the bottom of the pack. There you go, four of spades. Let's do this once more. The nine of spades. We'll control this to the bottom. And there you go. The nine of spades. Now, everybody does it different. Like I said, there's different touches on this. You can go back a long, long time and find a lot of different touches and preferences from other people. Again, I've just adapted the way that I do it to the situations that I've found myself in the most, and that has led me to this, the way that I do it now. Okay, so let's get right into this. So you have a deck of cards, you're going to spread through, you're going to have them select a card. You're going to retract this card on top of the left hand packet, and you're going to retain a break. So I have a break under this card now, and I want to place all the other cards right on top. Now, one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing people with breaks like this that are so large that they're showing through the front, they're showing down the side, that they're showing behind the in the back area here as well. Your breaks should be very minimal. You should be able to hold on to them well. There shouldn't be a big gap around the front here. They should look pretty, normal. And I'm still retaining a break. Okay, still retaining a break. So my break is underneath the six of spades. Okay, I get that break, goes on top. Adjusting. And I think what a lot of people miss with the turnover pass is that they're so eager to do it. Now, I know that I've done it immediately after each one of the demonstrations I just done, as well as in the trailer, but that is because we're not face to face, we're not person to person here. I think the best thing about the turnover pass is that once you gather this card up, this stack goes on top, you square it up, you got your break, it's just waiting and talking. Remember, the pass isn't something that happens while the person is burning your hands, but at the same time it can be done while the person is burning your hands, but it doesn't always mean that they should be. It's kind of an offbeat moment when you do it. So you spread through the cards, talk for a moment, blah, 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 and then you do the pass. So the 6 of spades is now on top of the pack. Okay. Again, we'll start from the beginning. You got your card, the King of Diamonds. Now we're going to control it to the top. If I want to control it to the top, I have a break under the king. So the top is under. If I want to control the king to the bottom, I get a break under this entire spread here, above the king. Okay, so this is going to the bottom. The king is going to go to the bottom. My break is above the king, underneath this spread, and then when I do the turnover pass, it is now on the bottom, the King of Diamonds. So your break determines where it's going to go, whether it's going to be the top or whether it's going to be the bottom. So there's a couple different touches here, and we'll go over them one by one. And we'll start from the very beginning. The king, like I said before, you get a break underneath that card. It goes on top, and this is where everything happens. My right hand is going to grab the packet above the break. So here's the card, the King of Hearts, above the break. So I have the king here and all the other cards on top. And it's going to cover the entire front of the pack. Okay? So the finger is just going to go here. The middle, the ring, and the little finger are just going to go right on top here. Not covering up the edge here so much. Not so worried about that. But you can if you want to, but I want to be able to make sure that they can see that card. So I come to the right just a little bit. My finger is curled on the front. My thumb is in the back holding on to that packet. Okay, so this hand has this packet. This hand has this packet in mechanic's grip. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to move this slightly. We're going to move it forward about a ½ inch to where you can almost, well, you can see the 10 there. You can't see the pip below it, but you can see the 10. So about that much. Where'd my card go? What we're using, the 10 of the King of Hearts. Okay. It's going to slide it forward slightly until I get about ½ inch, maybe a little more. And now my finger is going to come to the left side. Okay, so let's see. It's going to come like this. And now it's going to turn this packet over. So I'm going to rotate using my 2 middle fingers and my index finger. Like this. This is going to take just a little bit of practice. And you're just going to cause this top packet to rotate. That's the first thing that you want to practice. Okay, is this. Okay. Again, make sure you're coming forward and you're tilting. So it's parallel with the ground right now. Come forward, and I'm slightly tilting, just a couple degrees, like this. Okay, so I'm tilting slightly, and then this hand is dropping just a little bit. So let's go over the index or the right hand real quick. Let's just pretend that we have the other packet in my left hand in mechanic's grip. It comes over, and I rotate, and it goes back into mechanic's grip. Okay, so you're here. You come forward, you tilt down, you rotate, and goes into mechanic's grip. Here, forward, rotate. Here, forward, rotate. Now the other pack, and keep in mind the pack that we just used has the king again on the bottom. This pack is the left hand. Okay, so we're going to go over the left hand and what's actually happening here, and this is it here. Okay, that's what's happening. So it's in mechanic's grip. A lot of people like to put their little finger down here at the very bottom to ensure that it doesn't fall, but nothing's going to fall if you do this properly. Okay. Here, So this is going to provide cover. The reason that you bring this forward and tilt down is to provide cover. Get a little flash here just because of the way it's all angled. But you see how you're covered. Look, from the beginning, from the start to the end, you're covered completely. The King of Hearts is on top. So let's go over the left hand real fast. Everything is in mechanics grip at this point, mechanics grip. Now my little finger and my ring finger are going to pull down. And then my index finger and my middle finger are going to extend. Okay, now with this left hand grabbing it, it allows me to apply pressure to the back of this pack, and my fingers can then readjust back into mechanics grip. Mechanics grip, rotate, mechanics grip. Okay, mechanics grip, pull down with your little finger and your ring finger so that everything moves, and you want it to kind of roll into this hand. Once it does, you apply pressure here, fingers into mechanics grip. So the entire thing together, we're working with the King of Hearts. There it is. Bring this pack here forwards. I want to do this as exposed as I can. Bring this forwards, tilt down. Okay, let's see what the best way to do this is. Tilt down. My hand is also tilting down just a little bit. Fingers are going to pull until it turns. So it's turned. Pull. Index finger comes over, rotates this packet on top, square, mechanics grip. Once again, you're here, closes up, you're at this point. I'll try to do it this way for you. Now it's important to note the sequence in which this happens. Okay, so coming forward, tilting up slightly is the first part. So your right hand, your left hand then pulls to rotate this pack about 90 degrees. And then your right hand then completes its rotation on top to complete everything. So right hand, left hand, right hand. When done at speed, it'll look like this. I have a tendency, just because of muscle memory, to add in that extra little twirl there at the end. I'll try not to do that, just to give you guys a kind of a bare view of what this looks like. It's very clean. It's very covered. It's just a couple little different touches than the way that I originally learned it. Again, I've adapted these over the years, or adapted to this handling over the years, just because I find that it gives me more coverage. It looks well. It looks really good. And again, if you want to control this card again to the bottom, I don't get a break underneath. I get a break on top, like I said earlier, on top of that card, underneath this spread here, and I do the same move, and it goes right to the bottom. One more time. Spread, card, get your break underneath, on top, forwards, tilt, left hand rotates, right hand rotates. Again, look at how much cover I have with my hands and the pack. And the reason I'm tilting and bringing this forward is so that this hand can clear here, and I'm completely covered by the front of the pack, my fingers, and my hand over here on the right as well. So you get a really nice clean rotation of the pack. Let's try that again. 3 of spades. And there you go. guys a little application that I've done here, or that I use quite often. While magicians are very aware of the turnover pass and the workings behind it, a lot of buddies that I know that are magicians have adapted this to kind of their performances, just to kind of, it's kind of just a neat little thing, really. But the jacks, the 2 black jacks, are on top of the pack. And if you watch, actually, wait, these are the aces. Yeah, we'll do this again. We use the aces. You can see there's no other cards nearby. Just take it like that, and there are your jacks back. And then if they want, they can go through the pack and see that the aces are actually in the middle of the pack. Same thing as before. This is completely the same handling as the standard turnover pass. The only thing that is different is that I don't go through with the entire rotation of the pack, okay? All I do is, you gotta have your 2 cards on top, face up, and in the pack you have to have, in the middle of the pack, you have to have your 2 cards face up in the middle. And I just get a break with these. So if I'm at this point, I know I'm gonna be doing this, I'll just riffle through with my fingers, or my little finger, get a pinky break underneath that card, or underneath this pack over top of these jacks. I spread through a little bit so they can see each individual card. Show the aces one at a time. Now I'm going to do the turnover pass, really. Just going to do the turnover pass. Here. Here. And as soon as this pack touches the back of this pack, I just come back. And I immediately grab this card and show that it is now the 2 jacks, okay? You know, the 2 aces, 2 jacks. I'll try to do this again for you in slow motion. Here, here. Let the deck fall back into the hand. Okay, so what's happening again? Do this as slow as I can. You're here. This rotates. As soon as this touches the back, your left hand is going to bring those fingers back so that it's right back into mechanic's grip again. Now, when done smoothly and quickly, it looks really good. So it just goes here, and now you've got your aces. Again, the jacks are in the middle. There you go. So just using it as a nice little color change that happens in the hands, and just a small rotation. So this is another application. This uses 2 cards on top. I've done this quite a bit for a lot of magicians, and it fools them because it kind of throws them off, because they think it's a turnover pass, and then when I turn the deck back around, you still have these 2 aces right on top. The 3 of diamonds goes in. There you go. Again, this is completely the same mechanics. What I like to do beforehand is just to give it a cascade a little bit, and then turn the packs over so that, or turn these, I'm sorry, turn these 2 cards over as one, not as one, but one at a time. And what this is going to do is give it a little bit of a bow here. That's going to help you. That's going to help you when you do this. So the basis of this is to show the two aces on top face up, turning the pack over, having them select a card. So we'll say the ace of clubs because it contrasts. And now you're going to do the pass, but you're retaining these 2 cards as you control their card underneath these 2. Same pass, obviously, but the same pass, but I'll show you how this is going to happen. We use the 3 of hearts. Everything goes together as if you're going to control this to the bottom, or I'm sorry, to the top. So you get a break on the bottom of this card underneath it. underneath this card, and underneath this spread. Now your thumb of this hand is going to pull down on these two cards, which are the top two aces. And when you do that, this hand is going to grab the top stock here, and you're going to rotate by pulling with your little finger like you would normally do, but you're retaining these top two cards with your thumb. Here, my thumb pulls down as the little finger and the ring finger is going to rotate this pack. This pack comes forward and tilts, and it rotates between these two cards that are retained in this pack, and goes right inside as you rotate around. This is going to take some practice. There's really not much more that I can teach about this to really drive it home for you. This is something you're about to practice and see and test with. Again, so the 9 of spades, I'm getting a break below it. My thumb is going to grab these two top cards. I'm going to bring this forward and tilt. This pack is being pulled down with my little fingers while these two cards are being retained. And I'm rotating this pack right in between and leaving you with the two cards on top. One more time. 5 of clubs. Here we go. You're going to bring this forward. Actually, I'll just do it at speed for you so you can see it. Jack of clubs. That puts that there. So that is just another application with the turnover pass. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a way that I've taken this and kind of built in this prediction, guess a card, reveal a card kind of thing. And it came from my buddy Josh Fletcher, who was using something completely different, and this just happened to come to mind as a method for revealing a card. Again, his thing that he was doing is completely different than this. This is just a move that popped into my head. So what you do is you go through, I'm not even going to look at the monitor, I'll turn my head, have them look at a card. Once it's down, I'll just use my leg for this since I don't have a table. And then you ask them, you know, I don't know, how many cards down do you think that your card is? They give you a number. You'll say, in fact, you can just go through. Once you see your card, you can then tell me how many cards down you think that is. They tell you, and then you know that that's the Queen of Hearts. Now, you can do this with a key card in a way, because when you do a turnover pass, you know the bottom card. What I like to do is to have them shuffle. I don't even use a key card here because I want to be 100% sure exactly what's going to happen. I've turned this into, or I am turning this into kind of a bigger effect. So what they do is they go through the pack. I don't look. That goes right on top. This comes over here on the leg or the table. I sidestep it. So there's a step here, these cards. And I just ask, you know, how many cards down do you think that is? And now I know it's the 9 of diamonds. From here I do the turnover pass, and I say, look, you can go through and you can see your card and tell me how many cards down you think that is. So there's their card. They tell you, and you obviously know what the card is. And what I have used it for in the past is when they have the card selected. Yes, there are many different ways to get peeks. There's a lot of easier ways to get peeks, and I completely agree with that. But there is potential to build onto this because of the mechanics of this. okay, there's potential to build onto it. And I've done that in different situations and with different things, mostly improvising, to be honest. But you can build onto this tremendously because you have 3 different things that are going on. They take the card out, they place it on top of the pack. You don't need a key card. By cutting this onto the pack, or onto the table, I'm sorry, and sidestepping, you're given the illusion that their card is here, when in fact their card is here. Okay, so I'm just doing a false cut. And the false cut is to swing cut to the left hand and immediately bring down the pack on the right hand. If I leave this card face up, you'll see that happen just like that. Swing cut to the left, the right packet immediately goes down on the table, and this is now sidestepped. What that means for you is if you go through and won't look, take a look at that card, do the false cut, is that by going, how many cards down would you say that is? You're actually just looking at the top card here, which is their card. Okay, so the Jack of Spades, by grabbing just a few cards and turning them up towards yourself, you can look right at their selection, grab a few more. They know that they think that their card is here, so they know that you're not looking at their card, when in fact you have. This goes back down on top. Now the third move is doing just that, just the turnover pass. And from here you can spread through and just say you see your card in there somewhere, yeah? And now you've done 2 things. You've peeked their card. You have also placed it where it should be, which is in the middle of the deck. Building onto this little kind of effect can bring so much more. Because not only can you peek the first card, you can peek the first 2 cards, first 3 cards, first 4 cards. And you can do that by just doing a false cut, grabbing a few cards, looking directly at it. There's no need to really peek, you're just looking right at it. And then showing that they're exactly where they should be in the center of the pack. So that is a neat little effect that I've used. I showed this to Josh Fletcher after I kind of come up with the idea of using these 3 or constructing these 3 moves together. And I've done this 4 or 5 times, and he's like, I know what you're doing, but I'm not sure how you're doing it, because the cut looks legit and the card's exactly where it should be when you show me the cards. So completely went over his head. He knew something was going on, but he just could not pinpoint it. And that is, coming from a mentalist slash magician. So have fun with that, build on to that, build a routine around that, make that a mentalism effect, make that a card effect, make that, just use your imagination, use your creativity, and come up with something really neat and implement this into it, and you will have a great foundation for something new. Again, thank you all for being here with me. I hope that you found something that you like in this download, something that you can take away, add into your existing turnover pass, or maybe you picked up all the mechanics on this and you found out that you love this better than your older one, or this may be the first one that you learned. Either way, I'm glad that you've stuck with me. I will see you next time here on Magic Stream.